Hey there, welcome back. So let me walk you through in this video something that I think will be very interesting for you if you do e-commerce or you're a CMO. At least if you have any landing pages, then it will definitely be interesting. So what we are going to talk about now is an AI system that continuously tests different landing pages. And what's really interesting is we designed it in a way that you can essentially compare it to what you had before and then really in a mathematical way, prove if you had any extra incremental revenue or incremental performance. So what I have right here on this board is going to be maybe 5 to 10 minutes of walking through. But by the end of the video, you will understand why traditional A/B testing doesn't really work, why AI makes A/B testing essentially just way better and just, infinitely better. And we'll talk about that a lot. And then also why it might make sense to test it if you are a CMO or if you have an e-commerce company. So before that, let me do a quick introduction. My name is Dominic. I worked briefly in BCG, Boston Consulting Group. Then I was a CMO at a data analytics company, and I was focusing mainly on e-commerce companies, or data analytics firm focused on e-commerce brands. And now I'm deploying essentially ROI positive AI to e-commerce companies and especially focusing on marketing departments. So we usually work with CMOs. So back to the video. Let me go through all of these boxes right away. So the machine is essentially creating landing pages and proves which one works. And so the traditional problem with A/B testing and landing pages before AI is that most teams don't even do it because it's something that CRO, you need to have either an agency or a department. And usually people don't have an internal CRO department. And so that is usually not that considered. But it is a very important part of the business because, for example, if you have a meta ad that is performing well and CAC is 100 on it and your conversion rate is 1%, if you can lift that to 2%, then your CAC goes down from $100 to $50. So it's very, very significant. And there is a lot of essentially juice that can be squeezed out from conversion rate optimization. And now I'm specifically mainly focusing on direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands. But yeah, it's very important to look at CRO. So a lot of teams are not doing it. And then a couple other issues that can show up is that you get rid of a control group. So you just create a new landing page and maybe an A and B scenario, and then completely get rid of the original one. And now you have two new ones competing, but you don't have a control group. So that is one issue that we usually see. Another one is stopping it before statistical significance. And the third one is stopping it on a day where A or B is like hardcore outperforming the other one, and just getting really excited and locking in the one that is outperforming on that specific day. So all of those are kind of issues that we can now solve with AI and create an autonomous system. And so here's how our AI works. If let's say that you're a direct-to-consumer e-commerce company who does supplements, we can even think of AG1 because it's a brand that everyone knows. And so we would start with having a brand pack or a company brain. That company brain is essentially a knowledge graph that AI can really use well. It will have your designs, your design system, including your fonts, your colors, your tonality, what kind of products you are selling, what are the benefits of that product. All of that goes into one brain that AI can use really well. And so that brain is something that you can also keep after, and you can use it for a lot of other AI automations, but it's a very essential part of having this system set up. And so that's step one. Step two is that you also get access to a bunch of templates that we have created, and we've made quiz, advertorial, listicles, and a bunch of other types. And those are already well-performing tested landing page templates. And so what the AI will do is essentially two features. Feature number one is that you can have an ad and we can personalize a landing page to that specific ad. So again, let's say you are AG1 and you have a static ad that performs really well, but it can be a video as well. And so that static ad, you just feed it into the AI. Now AI has two inputs. It has your company knowledge graph, which has the design, what company it is, what is the product, and then it has the ad. And then the ad will talk about probably one of the aspects. So let's say it's AG1 has different benefits. One of them may be that it's amazing for traveling, But another benefit is that it has holistic nutrition, and it has all the different things, and you don't have to eat different wedges. So that's completely two different routes of benefits. And so let's say this ad that is performing really well is focusing on traveling. And so our AI will combine and understand that specific ad is focused on the traveling benefit, and will create a landing page that is essentially just a continuation of that specific ad. So when someone clicks that ad and it talks all about traveling and how easy AG1 is, the lender may be a listicle and says 7 benefits of using AG1 while traveling. And so that is really a continuation of the ad. And it's very important because the experience of the customer stays quite homogeneous. So they see something on Facebook that they are interested in, they click it, and instead of landing on a generic landing page that now talks about all the different benefits that they were not necessarily super interested in, they still see literally what they clicked. Like, okay, I'm interested, it is about traveling, and okay, I landed on a lender that says, here are the 7 benefits of why it's great for traveling. And so that usually already lifts your conversion. So that's feature 1. We personalize the landing page to the ad. Now, feature 2 is that we also create what's called kind of a king of the hill. And I think it's right here. Yeah, perfect. So this visual explains what happens next. So imagine it this way. You had the ad, you landed on this new personalized lender, but you had before your generic like product page or lender that you were using across all the different ads. So what we're going to do is that we're going to route 5 to 10% of the traffic to that specific ad. Let's call it version 0, the landing page that you were using before you started working with this system. So you're going to route 5 to 10% there, and we call that the control group. And the reason to do that is to be able to later very clearly prove that, okay, we have incremental revenue lift by routing to our more personalized landing pages. And so 5 to 10% is going to be the control group. And then 90 to 95% of the traffic will be routed into the personalized one. But we're not only going to have one personalized one, we're going to have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, depending if you're a large company and have a lot of traffic, you can have A, B, C, D tested. If you're a smaller company, it's better to just have A, B so that you get to statistical significance faster. But so let's say your AG1, and so we have 5% of the traffic going into the generic lender, and then we have 95% going into the champion. Here we can actually just call it A, B, C. Later, when one of them is winning, and then you have new challengers, it's kind of, we call it champion versus challenger. But again, just 3 different variations of a personalized landing. So going back to the travel example, you may have 5% here on a generic product page landing page that is not even personalized to the ad as control group. And then we're going to have one that is a listicle, talks about 7 benefits of why AG1 is great for traveling. Then you have another version that is an advertorial. So it's like an article on why AG1 is the best supplement for traveling. And then Challenger B, or like version C, can be a quiz funnel that talks about, do you travel often? What kind of benefits are you looking for traveling? And then you can click, the different benefits. And then after that, oh, AG1 has this and this and that benefits. So you have the different formats, but it's still personalized to the benefit that the ad is talking about. And then we have 2 things built into it. Let me see if we have it here. This one just explains why we leave it alone. We talked about that already. We need a control group. Let's see. No, I think these are not that super interesting. 2 other things that I wanted to explain that is not on the board here is that we built in automatically statistical significance. So the AI looks at that. And so whenever there is statistical significance reached, and let's say version A beats version B, then version A will be left alone and it will be the champion, and version B will be kicked out and a new challenger will come in. And we do that with quite advanced hypothesis testing. And so maybe version A had a higher conversion rate. And by the way, we're not only looking at immediate conversion rate, we're looking at conversion immediate one, same day, 7 days, 30 days, 90 days. So we actually attribute it back to that specific lender later as well. So I think that's really important to mention as well. But what was I going to say? So what we want to do is have the different landing pages, and yeah, you have the challenger, you have the champion, and it swaps out, and you have statistical significance. And the other very important things that I wanted to mention is essentially what's called a multi-arm bandit, or Thomson sampling, which is the solution to it, which is whenever you're A/B testing, you don't just want to be 50-50. Let's keep it at A/B, not ABC. At ABC, you don't want to be 33, 33, 33. So you don't want to stay at 50-50, because if one of them is clearly winning, you just want to send more traffic to that winning one so that you maximize essentially the revenue while you are doing the testing, not just after the testing. And so for that, we have a very simple mathematical solution. If we are 70% confident that version A is winning, then we will route 70% of the traffic to version A and 30% to version B. And so we just align the percentage of the traffic to how confident we are that that one is winning. And so this is how we can maximize revenue and profit while we are testing instead of just after the test. And this is why it's really nice, and you can just test forever because you're maximizing revenue during the test. All right, so just before closing out, here's what you would get. If you would use this system, you get new landing pages. You get a page per ad that is personalized to it. You get a live control room showing what is running and what is winning at the moment. You get a report on any cadence that you want, on what won and why, and all the different hypotheses that it was testing, and whether that hypothesis was true or false after the test. The brand pack and the brain, and that all of that is local and the company keeps. And it doesn't have a dashboard or an app yet, although we may develop that down the line. And then there is no contract lock-in. Yeah, essentially, I think that is the really important part to show. In conclusion, AI is really helpful when it comes to A/B testing, and I believe this will be a very significant part of personalized commerce. So instead of just seeing an ad and then landing to a general landing, I believe that e-commerce will change fundamentally. I think people are going to see more personalized ads. When they click it, the landing page is going to be an amazing extension of the ad, and it will talk right about the thing that got people curious in the first place. So it will be personalized to that ad. And I think even the emails, the welcome flow, will be personalized to the ad that got people interested in the first place. And we actually built a tool that does that as well. So I may talk about that in a future video. That being said, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for staying. And if you left a like or subscribe, I would really appreciate that. Thank you.